Hey y'all, it's me, Teacher NiMi here with Bad News. So apparently, students aren't doing too well on their SOL test here in Virginia. And that's tragic. It's so sad. But what's even more tragic to me is the lack of accountability from our educational leaders as to why. So many people are opining, saying the reason why students aren't doing so well is because of the pandemic and online learning. But I beg to differ. It's not necessarily online learning that was the problem, or that is the problem. I think it's how online learning has been implemented in our classes, in our schools. I think a lot of people, I know a lot of people, just decided that they were going to take what they do in the classroom and put it online and expect it to stick. But that's not how online learning works. And that's not how anything works. That's just like me saying, you know what? I am going to go swimming in my swimming pool outside versus swimming in the ocean. Swimming is the same, but you need to be aware of different things. They're not the same bodies of water. Or going swimming in a swimming pool versus swimming in Lake Erie. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. And very different. So while you might know how to swim, you may not be an effective swimmer in a large body of water, such as an ocean or a lake, as you are when you're swimming in your home pool or the community pool. Just saying. So, while so many educators are very effective in the classroom, they were not as effective in the online environment. And I think that has to do with the ability to, or not their ability, but I think it has to do with, a lot of it has to do with what they knew how to do, the tools they were given, the training that was provided, and the flat out expectation. A lot of teachers, I know I'm an educator, and I've actually taught in an online learning environment for some time, for years actually, and a lot of things that I would suggest at my own school was turned down. I spent the entire summer doing a modern classroom project, and when I talked about it at my school in the beginning of the year, it was shut down. But I still implemented it. I still used it in my classroom because I knew that it would be beneficial for my students. I did what some people call like do it now and ask for forgiveness later. So I did what I knew was best for my scholars, their families, and I got them in a habit of advocating for themselves and really taking control of their educational experience because it's theirs. We are there to help. We're there to nurture. We're there to guide. We are not there to just tell them what to do and what to expect, because that's not how learning works. So yes, I am really sad that the students here in Virginia are not doing so well across the board on their SOL tests, but I do think this is a great learning opportunity for our educational leaders, our political leaders, to step up and really research, not just use their opinions, but actually research and see where the gaps are. Do a deep dive, do a rigorous gap analysis, see what the students are lacking, see what the educators are lacking, see what the schools are lacking, and then help them. I will say this, I talk a lot about my school, and I talk about my equity adjustment on 58K, we don't talk about that today, but I will say this about my school. The leadership in my school, minus my equity adjustment, they work hard and they actually want to affect change. They actually listen to educators. Now, not all of them did, because last year I had someone who would just say, "Do you have anything of value to add?" Meanwhile, he didn't even know what a quotient was, but we're not gonna talk about him either. Um, he's no longer there. He's not worth my time and energy. But and I did talk about earlier about another leader who, didn't really have much to say, and I had to just do now, ask for forgiveness later. But that person's no longer there either. Lucky me. But honestly, to be completely transparent, the leaders at my school and the managers at my school, who are leaders too, they do listen to us. They do take into account what we're doing, how we're feeling. They ask for our feedback. They want our feedback. And I know a lot of people are like, "I'm not giving my feedback because what happens if you don't?" How about that? What happens if you don't? I'm always giving my feedback, and I'm always transparent with my feedback. They probably know the feedback is coming from me because I've said it so many times before I even put it down in the Google form, in the Google Doc, but Google form actually. But I share my feedback, and I'm honest, and I'm glad I do, because sometimes I can see it immediately being addressed and implemented, the suggestions being implemented. That doesn't happen in most educational systems, environments. I know for a fact because I've been in education nearly two decades. And I am in a unicorn of a school when it comes to leaders actually listening, leaders actually wanting to help, leaders actually taking time to talk to families, to talk to students. Now, I'm not saying, and my school isn't in Virginia. We just live in Virginia. Anyone who's familiar with the DMV knows that it's the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. It's not the place where you go to get your license renewed, In some places the DMV is, where I'm from, that's where it is. But anyway, it's a region. It's a region here in Northern Virginia, Maryland, and the District of Columbia. And so, others, I done lost my train of thought again. When you get in your 30s, you just start losing your train of thought, and Lord knows what 40s are going to bring. But, I'm just proud and happy to live another day. A lot of people don't. I found out the other day, actually yesterday, that two people close to me from my childhood passed away. One on Christmas Eve and one on Christmas. So I know my mom is like super sad and not really in the best spirits because her friends are all passing. So while I'm like saying, "Oh, my 30s, I can't remember stuff," it's true. It's true. Maybe I need some ginkgo biloba. Who knows? Or something. Maybe I need more sleep. But I'm just thankful to live another day. And I'm also thankful to live another day to live with my scholars and to continue to fight and advocate for them. But as I was saying, in my school, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. I'm blessed. I think it's beyond luck. I'm blessed to have autonomy. A lot of people don't have that. I talked about that in another episode, how autonomy is one reason why a lot of teachers are leaving the profession. Lack of it. I do have that. I do have the respect of my coach or coaches in both special education and mathematics. I'm in both departments. I do have the respect and the support from my directors of both special education and mathematics, and even ELA. In the things of culture, they are very open to listening to educators. And I think that's one reason why at my school specifically, and I'm not trying to, throw anybody's schools or districts or states under the bus, but I think that's why at my school, specifically speaking, there's been so much growth. There was a lot of growth last year in online learning at my school because we listened to the parents. We talked to the students. We asked them how they learn best. We implemented the things that they said. Whereas, where we live here in Virginia, we didn't get that. No one reached out to the parents and families to say, how do your scholars learn best? What can we do to help your family to ensure that you're successful in online learning? Thankfully, as for me and my house, my household, our household, I've invited y'all into my families, into my household. So as for what's going on over here, thankfully, both my husband and I are huge cheerleaders for education. We're huge cheerleaders for advocating and investing in ourselves and in our children and ensuring that our children have what they need to succeed. So we actually did that within our own family, our family familial unit, and we found out what works best for all of our children, and all of them learn differently. We only have 5, so all of them learn differently, and it worked for them, and they ended up enjoying their online experience equally to their in school experience. So that worked well. But not every family is like that. Not every family knows to do that. Not everyone knows to do that. And no shade. Not everyone is as passionate about education as I am and doing it for a living. But I will say, my school really stepped up. Except not on a whole equity adjustment. I'm still a little sad about that. But in terms of the families and in terms of the education and ensuring that they had a rigorous curriculum, rigorous curriculum across the board, my school met the mark. Bulls freaking eye. If I had a bullseye back there, I would like, bing, bullseye, but I don't have one. But yeah, bullseye. They hit the mark. In terms of talking to the educators and families and students and finding out what they need, what I need, they win. What I need for students, what I need for families, what I need for educators, what I need for the school as a whole. Oh, we kicked butt. We won. And unlike Virginia, our scholars grew. Our scholars grew. So I say all that to say I find it problematic when people just pinpoint one thing that they have a problem with or one thing that they are disagreeing with and say this is the reason why. It's not online learning, because the scholars who I worked with last year, not just who I worked with, but the scholars who attend the school that I am proud to call my home school, they grew in an online learning environment. And oh goodness, I'm tearing up. Why am I tearing up? Hormones. They grew in an online learning environment, and they didn't even have access to a lot of the opportunities that the students and the families where I live have access to. A lot of the students who I taught last year, all of them didn't have access to Chromebooks in the beginning or iPads in the beginning. A lot of them didn't always have access to internet, but they did it. They crushed it. And the school did an excellent job ensuring that they had access to those things. Maybe that's part of the reason why my equity adjustment is so low. I don't know. But the school did a good job. So, snaps for them. Hopefully, we here in Virginia can learn a lot from our neighbors in other districts. Our neighbors in the region. That's all I've got. So that's all for today's clapback news. Coming back is Teacher NiMi. Be kind to someone today. Hey, we have a visitor.